Okay, section 7.3, finance charge, average daily balance method. New purchases are included. So when we talked yesterday, we looked at finding the finance charge where the purchases that were new were not included. So those really didn't get added in until the end. These, we're going to do them kind of both at the same time. So there was, in our last book, a page where the purchases weren't included. Then they threw in the purchases in the next one. So you had 2 days of charts. This book only included it once. So we're going to go with this one. Advantages of using credit cards. Give me some. What do you think? We kind of talked a little yesterday. Credit score. Okay, what else?
You get to pay back that.
That's a bonus. Okay. Do you have to have the cash right away? Do you have to pay it right away? No. So no need for cash.
I feel like this will just stress you out.
It might, depending on how much is on there. So remember, debit card takes it right out of your account. Credit card, you buy it, and either a week or 2 weeks, depending on when the statement comes, that's when you have to pay it back. So you have a little bit bigger window to come up with the money. And of course, there are more. How about disadvantages? You could rack up a huge amount of debt, right? If you're kind of just going, hey, I'll just use a credit card for this, and I'll just use a credit card for that. And then when the bill comes, your eyeballs just about pop out of your head because it's a huge amount of money. So
Have you ever done that before?
no. My roommate, I don't know if I told you guys this. Did I talk about my roommate in college? Stace and I, my sister and I lived together, and we had one other girl that lived with us. Let me write this quick. Huge. We lived together in South Fargo in an apartment, and we all went to school at Morehead State University. And she had a huge problem with charging things. So she had a credit card. It's supposed to be used for emergencies. Her mom and dad gave it to her. And she would just go out and go, hey, I'm going to charge this or I'm going to charge that. And she would never pay it back. So we had constant credit people calling the apartment for her, and she would never answer the phone. And so then we started not even answering because it was always somebody that was looking for her because they needed their money. So she did not use it very responsibly. Eventually she couldn't even afford gas to get from South Fargo over to Morehead to school. So she had to move out and move closer to campus so she could walk because she had such a huge, huge credit card bill. And of course, we were worried that she wouldn't come up with a rent either, but she actually never left us that way. She always paid for her rent somehow, but obviously she wasn't working as hard as she was buying things. So still talk to her every now and then, but she did not have very good money sense about her. Okay, so the company adds any new purchases to the balance at the end of each day. They charge a late fee if you don't get the payment by the due date, and usually that's quite a large little late fee. Here's some formulas, and they kind of get confusing if you look at them right now. We're going to look at them at the end once we fill in the table. All right, so it kind of keeps moving a little bit. Sierra has a charge account with a company that computes the finance charge using the average daily balance. New purchases included. She checks to be sure the average daily balance is correct. So what you guys are going to have, and we're just going to look at the dark part of this table, is you guys will have this kind of already formatted for you. So you won't have to decide how many blanks there are. Even though I could do it that way, I don't, because this is probably the only time in your life that you're going to do this. But at least you'll kind of know how they compute those balances when you have a credit card of your own. So I want you to open your books to section 7.3. And just kind of watch me on this one, and then we're going to do one together while you guys fill it in, just so that you kind of know how it works a little bit better. Okay, so look at the top of page 292, and all the credit card bills look different. They look nothing like this book right here. They have some same amounts of information, but they don't really look like this. They have reference numbers. Those would be only like if you call because you're questioning something. Like, let's say I buy something on Amazon, use a credit card to pay for it. I get my credit card bill and it has some weird place on there that I don't know what it is. So you call the credit card company and you say, I'm not really sure where this purchase was made. Can you give me some information about it? So they'll say, yeah, what's the reference number? And you'll go, oh, it's this. So whichever line of reference that they need, that's what they need to go into their computer to tell you what the item was, maybe, or where you bought it. A lot of times with Amazon, it doesn't come up Amazon. It'll come up with whichever company they're buying that product through. So that's where, if you buy stuff on Amazon, you might forget what you bought. And then they'll go, oh, it was this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I did buy that. Or if it is a purchase that you didn't buy, you can then say, hey, I didn't buy that. Someone must have gotten my card, or how you use the card and then they steal your numbers and that kind of thing. So then you can kind of track it down a little bit better. So that's what reference numbers are for. You'll then see a posting date. That's the date that it posted onto your credit card. Those are the dates that we're going to be looking at. What it is, and then was it a purchase or was it a payment? So those are the main things that we're going to look at right away. So you have to include every single date for the billing period. For this one, it is the month of December. So we need to cover every single day in the month of December in this date column one time. Okay, so we'll be going from December 1st to December 31st. What I do is I go to that top part and I look at the two things that happened. One, they made a purchase of $25.85. I'm going to put that in there. And the other, they made a payment for $70. That's what I do first. And I don't do it on the first line, and I don't do it necessarily on the last line. So I skip to the second line, and I put $12.10 in there. And then I skip another line, and I put $12.20 in there because that's when the payment was made. And I'm going to put those two amounts in there too. The payment was $25.85. Purchase was $70. Oops, I put them in the wrong one. Just a second. Payment $70. Purchase $25.85. There we go. So there's a payment column, there's a purchase column. Now we're going to fill in the dates. This is the most important part. What are the dates before the 10th? December 1st through December 9th. So the reason I skipped a line is because there's a bunch of days before that payment was made. Those go here. And once you do them a few times, you can do it kind of as you go. But for the first time, that's kind of what I look at. So I'm going to say December 1 through December 9. Okay, what are the dates between the 10th and the 20th? It would be December 11th. Through, and I'm going to do this a little different because I'm running out of space, the 19th. What are the dates after the 20th? The 21st through the 31st. So every single day in December has been accounted for one time. You can't double up, you can't skip any because then you won't have 31 days. So the number of days in December is 31. When we add that column of numbers, we should get 31. If it was November, it would be 30. Okay, and you always know how many days there are because they kind of give it to you in the statement. So end of day balance. What we're going to do is we're going to look at what was the previous balance. So I'm looking at the second line in your book. It says billing period 12/1 to 12/31. I'm looking at the previous balance was $125.80. That's this one. Okay, then stuff starts to happen. So I don't even worry about the next two columns. I'm just going to fill in this one. So if I had $125.80 in there and I made a purchase, what do I do with it? Do I add it in or take it out? Add it in because your balance gets bigger. So your purchase column you're going to add in, your payment column you're going to take out. So I'm going to take $125.80 and I'm going to add $25.85. Which is $151.65. Then from the 11th to the 19th, did anything happen? No payments, no purchases, so my balance stays the same. Then I had a payment. What happens to your balance? Does it go up or down? Down. So I'm going to take 151.65. I'm going to subtract 70 from it, and I get 81.65. And then when I look at those last dates from the 21st to the 31st, there's no payments, there's no purchases, so my balance must stay the same. If you can do that much, that is the hardest part about the table. Everything else is super, super easy. What we're going to do is find out the number of days from, for instance, the 1st to the 9th, or how many days is the 10th, and so on. So we're going to do that next. Anytime you make a purchase, anytime you make a payment, it's only 1 day. So when I look at 12/10, that is 1 day. When I look at 12/20, that is 1 day. How do we find the rest? You can count on your fingers. Or how many days from the 1st to the 9th? You take 9, subtract 1, you get 8, and then you have to add 1 back on. When you subtract, it doesn't count the day you're on or the day you end with, okay? Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 days. You can count on your fingers too, or tally it on paper, whatever you want to do. So from the 1st to the 9th is 9 days. How many days from the 11th to the 19th? Subtract them, you get 8, and add 1 on. Okay, so you get 9 there too. How many days from the 21st to the 31st? Subtract them, and you get 10. Add 1 on, you get 11. Now, when I add those, I should get 31. If you don't, you probably didn't do the add 1 on thing if you subtracted. So 18, 19, 20, that is 31. Then we multiply. So if you do this side of the chart first, you'll be good. If you start doing the days and multiplying next, you're probably going to mess up somewhere. So always do it kind of column by column. Now, what we do is we take the end of the day balance times the number of days, and that equals your sum of balances. So now it's just multiplying, and sometimes you get kind of big numbers on these. 125.80 times 9 is 1132.20. 151.65 times 1. I didn't have to do that one. 151.65 times 9, though, is 1364.85. 81.65 times 1. And then 81.65 times 11. Then what do you suppose you do? What does sum mean? Add them all together. So take your calculator, you add them all together, you get kind of a big number. So it's kind of like the sum of the balances. $3628.60. Now, once you get the table done, it says, what's the average daily balance? What you're going to do is you're going to take these two numbers and divide them. So it's 3628.60 divided by 31. So they're taking all of those sums of your balances and they're averaging them to see how much you carried in that account throughout the month. So on the average, this person had 117.05 charged. So they kind of average it out and do it that way. Then you take that average to find the finance charge. So you look around in the table, it says the periodic rate is 2%. That's like the third one in and the second row. You multiply it times 2%. And you get $2.34. So they went through all of that just to find out that they have $2.34 in a finance charge. Then what is the new balance? I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so you can see where I'm getting this from. we've already considered the purchases, we've already considered the payments. So what I do is I take this number that's in the last column right here, and I start there. So I know that at the end of the month, I owe $81.65 plus the finance charge. And that's it. Okay, so it's a lot that goes into it, but once you get it, those steps aren't very hard. 81.65 and 234. So this person would owe $83.99. Now, this one, I kind of did it all in one. So if you're looking at your book, they didn't do all of it. They went to example 2 to finish the whole thing off. This is what I was afraid would happen. Let me see if it goes back up. I'm gonna. What?
No stress.
I am stressed because this is kind of the lifeline here. Let's see. Okay, so this person again owed $83.99. I don't know why that's showing. There we go. Okay, and that's what we're going to do. So now we're going to walk through one together after we just did that one, and we will fill in some dates on number 19. Okay, and we'll probably do that first. Okay, this one is number 19, which the information is on the worksheet that I have. The information that you guys are going to do is on that other worksheet that I handed out. So we're going to fill in the date column for this, just so everybody starts the right way. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the billing period. This time it is 4/1. Oh, I hope I can. I might have to type these in. Let's see. Okay, good. So billing period is 4/1 to 4/30. So those are the dates that we need to cover. So I'm only looking at the posting dates. The first posting date is the 11th, so I'm going to put that here. And if you want to put like April on the side and just do the numbers of the days, that would be okay too. So I'm going to put 10 on the second one because that is on the 10th, so it's April 10th. The next time, oh, it should be 11. It should be the 11th. Sorry, I looked at the wrong one. Okay, so the reason I'm putting the 11th on there is because this particular person made a payment on the 11th. That's when the balance in there is going to change. Now, I'm going to skip a blank and I'm going to put 15 in the one after that. So I'm skipping a blank and putting the 15 in there. Then I'm skipping another blank and I'm going to put a 23 in the next one. And then I'm skipping a blank and I'm going to put a 25 in the second to last one. Those are all the days that the balance on this thing changes. So now we have to fill in all the rest of them. And it's only the month of April, which is 30 days, right? 30 days. So we know at the end of the days, we're going to have 30 under there. Now we need to account for all the rest of them. So all of the days before the 11th would be the 1st through the 10th. What goes between the 11th and the 15th? What do I put there? Yep, 12 through 14. Then we have the 16th through what? 22nd, because then the next day is the 23rd. Sometimes it ends up weird where this one is only one day, right? The days between the 23rd and the 25th is only the 24th. Doesn't matter. That's just the way it ends up. And then we need the 26th through the 30th. Okay, I'll help you get the payments and purchases in there, and then you guys will do the rest. So on the 11th, a payment was made of $40. So I'm going to put $40 here. And you could have done this at the beginning too. On the 15th, a purchase was made, $39.95. And we're going to kind of keep going down the list. 23rd, another purchase was made, $15.99. And then the 25th, a payment was made, $50. The only other question I have is, what do you start with on that end of day balance? Where do you find that? Yep, so next to the billing period, you'll see the previous balance was $175. That's where I'm getting that from. So I'm going to start this chart out with $175. That's what you owed from the previous billing statement. And now you're going to go in and you're going to go, okay, on the 10th, I had a $175 balance, but on the 11th, I made a payment. What do I do with it? And you're going to subtract all the way down. Then you'll do the number of days, and then you'll actually multiply and do the one on the end. What I don't like people to do is put in the days and multiply right away, because people tend to like to bring this one back over here. This one, remember, is a huge number. We don't want that over there. We want to know, what does this do just here? So don't do that last column until everything else is filled in. Then I think it'll be okay and it'll go pretty well. Once you get to the bottom of the worksheet, you'll see that I have average daily balance. That's the one where you take the bottom two things on the right, like here, and divide them. Finance charges, what is your A, like what is this one, times your percent. And in this case, the percent is 1.2%. I found that right next to the period or the previous balance. And then for the new balance, we're going to take this one and add in the finance charge. So if you get stuck on this one, I am going to post this one online so you know kind of where the numbers are coming from. Okay. And like I said, they don't take long, but if you have questions and if you mess up on one, it throws the whole rest of the table off. So we're just going to do this one page, and you'll have one of these on the quiz tomorrow. If you do this and you kind of understand it or can understand it while looking at something, you can use these tomorrow. Okay, so the one that we did our dates together on, use that one on the quiz tomorrow. You'll have to know what you're doing on the test, but for tomorrow's quiz, you can actually use any notes that you have.